There we go. Good morning. Welcome back to day 2. We are ready
Morning.
to kick it off. Ann, are you awake?
Yeah, yeah. I was just finishing. I was like rubbing my eyes. I was like, oh well, it's all good.
We had that
Something in my
little
eyeball.
switching from the 5-minute countdown timer to like in out, and then Ann comes in rubbing her eyes like we just
Yeah.
woke her up.
I was looking at my another agreement that I'm actually drafting up for another property. So
Whoop, whoop. Money making task, closing deals. Good morning. I see we got a few people watching. We're streaming live to the group, so we're ready to roll today. Let us know you're here. Like we can't see who's watching. We just see the little eyeball with the number of how many people are watching. And so, as I mentioned before, we want to make sure it's interactive. We get to know you and you're actually back and forth. So that kind of fires it up and keeps us going. Um, what do you guys think of yesterday? Did you spend any time figuring out what your business is going to look like and kind of dialing that in? Because today we're going to get some practical exercises, and I'll share a couple things with you, and we're going to do some things like that. But today we're digging into automation, because remember, it's fast is what we're going with this week. Foundation yesterday, figuring out who we're speaking to, what we're doing, why we're speaking to them, and things like that. And then we're going to kind of recap on that a little bit from yesterday. And then automation, systems, and traffic. So today is automation. And I know with some of the stuff people were talking about yesterday about how they'd like to have more time at home, be able to make more money in less time, be able to be that example for their kids and teach their kids how to do things. Automation is going to be a huge part of that, a huge part of it. And a lot of people don't understand automation or how to do it, or they think it won't work for me, that kind of a thing. So today we're going to talk about how to start doing that inside your business and give you access to some cool software for free that'll make automating things super easy. So that's what we're going to be going over today. As always, just to recap again the week, we're going to go live for about an hour, and then we're going to jump into the VIP Q&A for whoever has VIP access pass. And then you'll have access to the replays in this group through the week and through the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, because I know you got W-2 jobs and kids, families, everything else. So you can catch up on the replays this week. And then next Monday, everything gets deleted. So you won't be able to catch up next Monday unless you have VIP access. Then you'll get the recordings after everything. So that's just a quick reminder, because every Monday after the challenge, I always have people going, Aaron, where'd they go? So get it caught up this week. I want you to succeed. I want you to implement this week. So do it this week. Ann, how you feeling this morning?
Amazing. Amazing. I just closed on my sub 2 property yesterday. Not that that's part of what we do. I actually started with wholesale. So um, that took a long time coming. That actually closing was a little bit longer than I expected. But yeah, that was amazing. And then, like I said, I'm drafting up another agreement too. I'm actually working with another investor. So kind of like a JV deal in a sense, to close on another property because we already have a buyer for it. And then I have another property that my transaction coordinator just texted me and said she's going to be bugging the attorney for our title. So, yeah.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, deal's working. That's good.
Heck yeah.
And there's things happening while she's here.
Yeah.
And that's part of what we're going to talk about today. Is we're going to show you or give you some like behind the scenes of like the way she has her stuff set up, because Ann has some things set up to where she just triggers one little thing and it automatically lets her transaction coordinator know it's time to start title, and they take over and things like that. And as we speak this morning, I have updates going out to people. So I literally, the software and the systems, the automation I have in place is sending out project updates to people this morning saying, hey, this is what we got done. This is where we're at. This is what's next. That stuff's happening while we're in here doing this live with you guys. And so I want to talk to you about the importance of that stuff today. Okay. First, recapping yesterday. I know we talked a lot about going all in, right? What do you do? How do you do it? Why do you do it? Knowing that why, right? I want you to think about who you're speaking to. Okay. And so we're going to use that getting leads organically through Facebook, social media, right? And wholesaling those deals. So if we get a very clear message of we help flippers find their next flip, right? Instead of saying I'm a wholesaler, that's kind of vague. Well, wholesaler, I guess, is pretty specific, but let's say I'm a real estate investor. Everybody likes to say I'm a real estate investor. When you say I'm a real estate investor, what does that really mean? Right? Like if I say, hey, I'm a real estate investor, tell me what I do. You can put it in the comments if you're watching live or on the replay, either way, but tell me what I do when I say I'm a real estate investor. What does that mean I really do? Because it could mean that I buy apartment complexes. It could mean that I have storage units. It could mean I have Airbnbs. It could mean I buy sub 2 properties and I hold them. It could mean I flip. It could mean I wholesale. There's a lot of things that real estate investor encompasses. And a lot of people love to say, I'm a real estate investor. And I did it too for the longest time. But just like getting clear yesterday on what are you creating, it's super important to be able to tell people what you do in a way that draws the right people to you and repels everybody else. Okay. So I say things about God and putting my faith first. It repels some people. I get it. It's okay. It's mine, right? This is why I'm doing things. And I'll just share with people about the way I do things. So some people get repelled. Some people draw closer and they're like, ooh, me too. We're going to naturally connect with some people, naturally run some people off. And that's actually a good thing because then life gets easier and more fun because you work with people that are like-minded as you, right? Even if somebody doesn't have my religious beliefs, a lot of times they want to help people like I want to help people. So we still connect, right? We still draw closer. We still do things together, right? Because I'll express my views, but I don't push them on anybody. So what do you believe? Who are you speaking to? How do you do it? Stop saying I'm a real estate investor and start saying I help flippers find their next flip. If we were in an elevator, right? We call it the elevator pitch because you get about 30 seconds talking to somebody, right? If we stepped into an elevator and you said, hey, how's it going? My name's Aaron. Oh, my name's Ann. What do you do? I help flippers find their next flip. If that person is a flipper, they are now a cash buyer and they will want to connect with you. Oh, really? I flip houses. We should talk. And you'll talk a little farther than the elevator. But if they're not, they're going to be like, oh, that's nice. And that's all the farther it goes, right? And that's a good thing because we drew in a cash buyer. But if both of you were like, I'm a real estate investor, and they're like, oh, me too. What do either one of you actually do? Neither one of you knows what the other one does, so you can't connect and go deeper. The reason I'm talking about this is because automation is building things and making it run without you. And in order to build something that runs without you, you need to be sure it's speaking to the people you want it to speak to properly, right? So like this morning, I have things going out, updating people on projects. I know what their worries are. I know what their questions are because I've thought a lot about that person and what I do for them. And so I can write texts and emails and I can schedule them to go out. And I know that it will speak to what they're thinking in their minds. So if we are trying to pull in leads through social media, we have to think, what are these people thinking? What are they doing? Right? And what are you thinking so far? I know you have experience in this, right? And I want to make sure I don't just talk the whole time, but
you're good.
How do you feel about this? Like the really defining who you're talking to and the elevator pitch and kind of that knowing that person.
I mean, you have to know it because I've been asked that question plenty of times, even by, property owners. I've been asked by fix and flippers. I've been asked by other wholesalers what I do, and I have my own little spiel that I give them. And it's better to know that because it is a very vague statement as a real estate investor. So as you guys can see, if you get out, if you've gone to my Facebook page, I actually learned this from Aaron. So at my Facebook cover page, it says what I do. I help homeowners get out of their situations by buying their properties. Click here now to reach out to me if you know someone or, have one that for a property. So, and then I have my own spiel that I tell everybody else, but on the side, but so.
I'm going to teach you, or we're going to teach you that on day 4. We're actually going to show you how to optimize out your Facebook profile so that it's speaking to the right people so that you can pull leads on autopilot through Facebook, because that's what Ann's doing right now. And honestly, that's what I'm doing right now. If you look at my Facebook profile, it leads everybody to this 5-day challenge. When we know who we're speaking to, we can put things in place that speaks to them, right? If you're in this challenge, I know that you're wanting to get into wholesaling, or you are wholesaling and you're struggling to get consistent deals and make the money that you're wanting to make, right? I know that about you. I know that you want to do more, be more, make more, set an example for your family, help other people. And you know that real estate is going to do that for you, but you're trying to put the pieces in place to make it work. Like, I know that about you. I know that a lot of people don't have money when they're trying to get started. So I'm like, how do I help you with, if you have no money, how do I give you something that can help you get started and go forward? Because that works with my values of wanting to help people, right? So I know that a lot of people are starting with no money or a little money. And so when I say, and I also know you're on Facebook already if you're seeing my Facebook profile, right? So I know you use Facebook and you hang out on Facebook and you're in other real estate groups and you're really trying to figure it out. So when I write my Facebook header image, right, and the hook, if you will, for this challenge, right, I'm going to show you the step-by-step method to flip real estate on Facebook with no money. I know you're on Facebook. I know you probably have no money or a little bit of money, and you're trying to figure out how to make it consistent, and that's what you want to learn how to do, right? So if I speak very clearly that that's what I'm going to teach you how to do, it makes you go, oh, I should take action and go learn that, because that's what I want, right? So now I have my Facebook profile set up on autopilot, right? Ann has hers set up. And what happened? You went to the profile, you clicked on a link, you ended up on the website, you signed up, you end up in the group, you get reminders every day that the challenge is starting in 30 minutes, and like all of that setup is running on autopilot. I don't do anything with that, right? We built it once and now it just runs. And now I go do things with my family. I go hiking. We're in Branson, Missouri right now. And so like we do a lot of hiking here, and we get out and we do stuff with the family, and people still sign up for the challenge, show up in the group, show up and watch the live. And then we teach you here, right? So the whole process is running, and I'm showing up here with Ann and we're teaching you something. So this is the most valuable part. The important part is showing up and delivering this information. But all that other little stuff in between, all the little emails and all the little stuff, that stuff that can all be automated, that gives you your time back. And so when we're talking about wholesaling real estate, even through Facebook, on day 4, we're going to show you how to set up your Facebook profile to where it does that, to where it brings leads to you, speaking very clearly to them. Okay, so that's one example of automation. I'm not going to jump ahead into that one yet. We're going to wait for that one.
I was going to say, honestly, the biggest thing with it when it comes to real estate investing is social proof. And I wouldn't necessarily say a website, but I have had to share my profile page to plenty of property owners. And if you're going to be utilizing Facebook, you want them to come to your page and see that you're legit person doing these deals. Even if you haven't done the deals, they can see who you are. You don't want pictures like it's kind of like, who do you want to do business with? And if you go on and through there, I tell you this, anybody who's try to add me as a friend, I will stalk your Facebook page. I will look at your pictures. And if it doesn't pertain to my core values or anything, I may not add you. And I'm sorry, but that's who I want on my page is going to affect how I want my life. So, I'm just saying, people check out your Facebook page and they're like, they see something. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do business with them, that kind of thing. So
automation and systems is today and tomorrow, and they both kind of work hand in hand. And so the Facebook is an example of a system that creates an automation where people come through a process without you having to do something over and over and over, right? That's what automation is. It's creating a process where things happen without you. Okay. Systems are a way that things happen to where the software could do it for you or other people could do it for you. So that's why I say automation and systems work together. The messaging on the front side is huge. It's imperative to making sure your automation works. right? So the importance, right? I want you to understand, like, automation is making things happen without you, right? Software to where it does things instead of you. So you get that time back, right? Like the whole sign up process for this challenge. I don't have to do all of that stuff every time somebody signs up. I just show up here. So that's the automation in progress or in process coming here. Yesterday, a lot of you said, I want to make more money, set an example for my family. I want to do those things, have more time with my family. I want to work less hours in the day, right? And I shared the story of like being able to be at my friend's house while the other dads went to work, and how my kids don't know a world where dad leaves all day for work, right? Like, to me, that's important, right? And so I personally have a belief that God created for 6 days, and then he rested on 7. And from that 6 days, he didn't create anything else. He created for 6 days, and then he set it on autopilot, and he spent the rest of eternity trying to have a relationship with us. That's what I believe, right? And I know it's kind of funny, but at the same time, I'm like, what if we did things the way he did? What if we try to build a business and set things on autopilot so that they keep running, right? And I know it's kind of a funny like comparison, but he created the sun and the moon, and now they just spin, right? Like they just go around and they give us light, and day and night comes, right? He created all these things, and they have a system and process, and they just work now. Like, what if we did that? Like, what if we tried to create our businesses and created processes and automation to where things would run so that we could spend our time in relationship with him? We could spend our time helping other people, right? Like, that's what we're created for. So what if we actually held that high in our mindset of the way we do things, right? I do. That's why I'm sharing it. I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm sharing my reasons with you. So I look at it and I say, that's kind of like what I would like to model, right? You set it on, create it, set it on automation, spend time in relationship with God. So how do we do that? The fact that I look at it that way creates an importance to figure out how to do something. That's what I'm trying to get across right now, is if it's not important to you, you won't do what you need to figure it out. Some of you, when I say software and automation, you instantly go, oh, I hate tech. I hate techie stuff. I hate software. I've used software. It just sucks. And I was like, trust me, I am not going to turn I am not going to turn you on to something that will be difficult or time consuming.
It's not, guys. It's not. Honestly, I started out with a basic, free CRM, and I was just like, Aaron, why can't I get it to this? Why can't I do this? And then he's just like, because you have to like do a lot more technical stuff with that than what his system can do. And if I can do it, trust me, I'm not the whole technical kind of person. You can do it, okay? my daughter's showing me stuff on my iPhone I didn't even know about, okay? Because there's like some tapping system. So, okay, and I never shut it off because I didn't know how to shut it off.
Right.
So it's easy, guys. It's definitely not difficult. I told them, I'm like, if it's difficult, I don't want it.
She's told me that multiple times. She's like, if it's difficult, I'm not even going to mess with it. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And like, so Anne has been the test dummy, if you will, of like, throw her into mix and see if it works. And so the software we're talking about is scalability. And it actually allows you to create automations and stuff like the sign up for the challenge and everything else. You build it, you set it, and you are able to forget it. But today I want to make sure that you understand the importance of automation first. Right? Because if it's not important to you, nothing's worth learning, period. Just like being here. If you don't understand that you're creating financial freedom for your family, then it's just another way to make money. And you'll have that attitude of the lady I told you about in my 3-day weekend that goes, I don't know. What do you think? You going to try it? If that's your attitude, you won't get success with it. I guarantee you. So don't waste your time. Move on to something that you are committed to. Because if you're committed to it, then you go, okay, it's important that I automate all this stuff. And so you'll invest the time to figure it out and make it work and learn it so that you can have that time back later. I'm not talking about wait until you retire. I think that's retarded. I'm not going to retire. I have a purpose on this earth, right? To create and help people. And so I will do that till I die. But I'm not saying wait till you're 50, right? Like work hard right now. And then when you're 50 or 60, you can retire. I'm saying you give it a few hours, right? You give it a few weeks to learn how to put the right things in place. And the way you move those faster is to copy what somebody else is doing that's already done it. Okay. And that's my goal for this week, is to show you stuff that we've already done and stuff that we are doing so that you can see how it actually works and you can copy it if you want to, right? Like that's what we're trying to give you this week. So yesterday was a go all in, right? You have to know what you're doing. So we're getting leads through Facebook, free organic methods, right? Bringing them in and then actually working deals. We want to flip deals through free leads on Facebook, because what that does is it allows you to not run out of money before you put money in your bank, right? If you focus on organic deals and the fastest way to money, then you can actually do a deal, put some money in your bank, and then start to do other things, right? Don't focus on your logo and your LLC and everything else. You just sign your personal name on a agreement and make some money. Then take that money and set up your LLC and set up your other things, right? If you want to go faster, you buy a program or you work with somebody, but you can do it all for free and figure it out on your own on YouTube. Like all the information's out there for free. So understand, we're not here just to pitch you. You can figure out as much as you want. We just want to save you time. Automation is going to save you a ton of time. Okay. And so if you can figure it out in the beginning when you're small, because here's the next misconception. A lot of people think, I'm just getting started. I'm just one person. I don't need all that stuff right now. Let me tell you something. Getting the right software in place, getting the right systems and automation set up, getting your messaging set up to where you know who you're talking to and your system runs them through a set, clear process, and software and your systems and software actually automate out in the beginning is the easiest time to do it. Because I have companies I work with that have done $100 million in sales, and they are a pain in the butt to set up. It is a horrible mess and a hassle and a stress trying to figure out how to clean all of it up and put systems and processes and automation in place. If you're a solopreneur running deals yourself, this is a perfect time to automate and to set up your systems, because it's like, what do you do every day? And how do you set that up to where other people could do it for you? That's all you have to think about right now. Okay. So here's a process I want to give you. This is how you start to create automation for anything. Because we have to find the points that you can automate first, right? So I always start people with, what do you do? In this case, we're wholesaling real estate, right? So what do you do means we wholesale real estate, now go step by step through the entire process, right? We create a pipeline, a customer journey, right? Somebody comes in and they're a new lead. Let's say it's a seller that has a house for sale. Doesn't matter how you got it. You pull that lead through a Facebook buy, sell, trade group, a sign in the front yard of somebody's house, for sale by owner. I don't care. Let's take the new lead, right? That person comes into your process. You have a name, phone number, information on the house. Then what? You reach out, you contact that person. Then what? What do you talk about on the phone with them? This. Write it down. Then what? I'm going to make an offer on their house. Then what? Well, I'm going to have to analyze it because I don't know what my offer will be. Okay. So you analyze the deal. Then what? I'm going to call them back and I'm going to make the offer. Okay. Then what? I'm going to get it under contract. You got to send them a contract first. Oh, okay. I'm going to send them a contract. Then what? You need to make sure they sign the stinking thing. Then what? Then once it's signed,
that was a good add-in.
then what? Do what?
So that was a good add-in. That's
Yeah.
very important.
Exactly. We got to make sure it gets signed, right? So there's follow-up during that process, right? Then what? Then I call the title company and I start title. Then what? I let the seller know that we've started title. Then what? I'm going to try and sell this thing. Okay. How are you going to try and sell it? What's the first thing you need to do? Create a property packet so I can send it out. Great. Create a property packet. Then what? send it out. Then what? You see, it seems almost too simple, but nobody does this. If I say, walk me through a deal, you're going to be like, well, I'm going to find somebody that's got a house I can buy for cheap, and then I'm going to find somebody to sell it to. There's a lot of pieces you jumped over right there, right? How do you automate that? I'm going to find somebody and I'm going to get it under contract. Then I'm going to sell the contract. Great. Do you even understand that process? Right? How do you automate anything? How would you have an employee do that for you? Because automation and systems allows you to duplicate, multiply, scale. If you don't have them right now while it's just you, if you can't tell me every step of the process for just you, you're not going to be able to teach a virtual assistant to do it for you. And people struggle with virtual assistants, and it's not because the virtual assistant sucks, it's because your training sucks. You don't have any systems in place. And did your training suck?
No, I actually have my systems in place. Thank you.
She's like, no, I had a coach and I had systems in place when I had my virtual.
Yeah.
That's a big one for a lot of people, though. People are like, I hired a virtual assistant and it just didn't work for me. And it's like, I always ask, I'm like, how did you train them? Like, how did you onboard them? What did you teach them to do? It's like, well, I assume they knew how to do leads because they said they've done cold calling and worked with other real estate investors. And so I told them to go get me leads, or I sent them out cold calling with a basic script, and they never role play with them. They never taught them anything else. Even if you get a job at McDonald's, they're going to go through and show you exactly how they want the hamburger made. One pickle right in the middle of the bun. Like, they are detailed, right? And hamburger and like McDonald's is not good food, but there's systems that are in place. Anybody could walk through the door and know how to make their food exactly like they always make it. And so that's what you're trying to create in your business. Okay. So when we're creating automation and systems, it starts right here. Then what? Then what? Then what? Then what? So let's just do it, right? Let's do it for wholesaling right now so that you don't have any excuse that I told you what to do, but not how to do it. Okay. So, Ann, let's walk through an entire wholesale from start to finish. No matter how we get the lead, let's start at new lead. And you guys can write this down. You can watch it on the replay. And you can like go step by step and write it down. If you've never done it, here's the steps from start to finish of kind of what we are going to do. Once we have the steps start to finish of this, then this, then this, then this, then this, you look at each one of them individually and you say, can I automate this with software or with another person? Could somebody else do this piece for me? Then tomorrow we're going to talk about creating the systems of how to pass that on to other people. So new lead comes in, and what's the first thing we do?
First thing that I would do is text them, say I'll be able to call you here within 24 hours, 48 hours, or you call them right away. So those are two different ways.
Ann is assuming, right? Because we have things set up to where
I know.
it comes in automatically, right?
I'm like, I already have it set up in my system.
She's like, it's set up. I just put her on the spot. She's like, oh no, what are all the steps? I guarantee you she knows the steps.
I know.
But our leads come in, and the first thing we want to do is let them know that, hey, we got your information, right? Because if you saw day 2 on the website when you signed up, 95%, you will have a 95% better chance of closing that deal, getting that contract, if you can respond within the first 5 minutes. So some people don't understand that. So let me pause the process right here at the very beginning. When you go to Sell My House Fast, Branson, Missouri, right? There's going to be buyers saying, we'll give you a cash offer, right? And you can put in your name, phone number, email, and click get my cash offer, right? Or somebody Googles, how do I sell my house? Because they're motivated. They got a problem. They need to sell this thing. So they're Googling, like, how do I sell my house? They're going to try and call or email or submit their information through the link they find. If you don't respond to that within 5 minutes, they move right on to the next person in the list. So if they're on Google trying to figure out how to sell their house, they're literally going, here's Ann. I'll reach out to Ann. If Ann doesn't respond right away, they go right to the next person in line. They reach out to them. So that's why it's like the actual statistics are, if you can't respond to somebody within 5 minutes, then they're going to go right down that list to the next person, and whoever responds the fastest is going to get that person. So simply being able to respond and say, hey, we just saw your information come in. I'm in the meeting right now, but I'll reach out to you just as soon as I'm done. It's a quick text message and or email that goes out immediately. So they fill out the thing, they say name, phone number, email, get my cash offer. And it automatically can text them back saying, hey, I got your information, but I'm with my family eating dinner right now. I'll call you back, right? So automating that one text message right at the very beginning, website or Facebook profile or whatever it is for bringing in that information, and automating one response can up your chances 95% of getting a contract. Okay, so like the first thing we always do is respond quickly, right? And having a process in place is huge. So for Ann, we were talking about, we're going to show you on day 4 to use your Facebook profile so you don't need a website. We leverage the Facebook profile. So messages come in, you still can respond right away, right? You respond right away. So first step, responding within 5 minutes. Responding with 5 minutes, just letting them know, hey, we got your information. We see that you sent it to us. We're going to reach out to you shortly. Okay, so then we've let them know. What are we doing next?
You call them up and you ask about details on the property, or you analyze the property, whichever you want to do first. And he's like,
I always like to call them and talk, right? Call them and talk to them. Why do you need to sell it? What are you, how fast are you needing to sell it? Tell me about your house. How could I help you? I like the question, if we could wave a magic wand and make this thing work perfectly for you, what would that look like? And they'd be like, well, you give me $100,000 and you close tomorrow. I'm like, okay, great. So like ask questions, have the conversation. Mm-hmm. Then what's next? What are we going to do next, Ann, after we've had that conversation?
Then you'd analyze the property to get the number that you need to. Well, you actually ask them what they're wanting for their property, so their amount, and then you run the numbers to see if that amount works within your numbers of if that's an offer you can accept or then negotiate. And then so you're going to have to call them back to negotiate.
Yep. So you're going to run the numbers and figure out what you can offer, where you can buy this deal, right? So the next step is analyzing the deal, figuring out where you need to be on your numbers. And then she already said, then what? Call them back, make the offer, talk to them. Say, hey, this is where I need to be. This is where I need to be on the numbers, X, Y, Z. 2 things are going to happen. They're like, heck yeah, let's do it, or absolutely not. And there's follow-up, right? So heck yeah, let's do it. What's the next step? Then what? We're going to send them a contract.
Yep, send an agreement.
I'm going to fill out your agreement, write in all the details, make sure you understand what it was you talked about with them, make sure it's clear in your agreement, and then you send them the agreement, right? So if they say no, or they're like, it doesn't work for me, you don't write them off. Okay, here's your next stage of follow-up. This is another automated step. This is another step where this is a big one. I think it's 80%. I think it's 80% or more, right in there somewhere, of investors or salespeople in general never even make the second follow-up call. So somebody goes, no, Aaron, that's ridiculous. I can't take that. That's not nearly enough. I need a lot more money than that. I can't accept this offer. 80%, I believe is the number, will never call that person back and try again. Okay. That just means they're not ready yet, period. They're going to sell that house. So either you're going to figure out a way to make it work, or it really doesn't work, right? Sometimes it just flat won't. But I still like to follow up with them. Shoot them a message a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later. Hey, just touching base to see if anything new has happened. Were you able to get your house sold yet? Would love to talk to you again about it. So like there's automation that can be created there. We're going to assume we're moving forward and they want the contract. Now, I want you guys to have a realistic view though. If you're new to this, you are not going to make 10 phone calls and get a contract. You're just not. You're going to make hundreds of contacts with sellers to try and make offers. And for every approximately 30 to 40 offers that you make, you'll get 1 contract. And that was before the market went crazy. like, like a lot of people don't know what to do with the market and what's happening. So like, if you've only made 5 or 10 offers and you haven't seen success, keep going. Okay.
Yep.
Understand it takes a lot of offers. It's a numbers game. It's a high volume game. So if you're new, here's a few numbers you can use. Make approximately 40 offers before you plan on getting one under contract, where a seller says, okay, I like it, and signs the agreement with you. If you kind of stick to that, it will help you. I've made 50 phone calls, and there was a lot of people that don't answer, a lot of people that said, F you, leave me alone. And there was a few people that would talk to me, and I made 2 offers. You got to make 100 more to get 2 more offers until you got about 40 offers to try and get one under contract. Okay. So write those numbers down. Watch this on the replay. Write that down again. Okay.
Yep.
It's huge.
Yep.
Understanding your numbers. So we're at 41 minutes. I need to make sure we get people like the process here. So
Okay.
I want to make sure.
Yeah. I'll try to add some tips in there too.
Yeah. So somebody says, okay, send me the agreement. We're going to send them the agreement, right? Fill it out, actually send it to them. Then what? We're going to follow up with them to make sure they have any questions. I send them the agreement, and then I send them, we have automation set to where as soon as I email them the agreement, I slide a card over and it automatically texts them and emails them. And it says, hey, we just sent you the agreement that we talked about. Let me know if you have any questions. And then it triggers a task for me to follow up with them the very next day, where I manually call them and I say, hey, just wanted to make sure you saw the agreement. Do you have any questions? And I try to make sure that they actually get it signed, right? So at this stage, it's follow-up, follow-up, follow-up. Those pieces can be automated, where some of it automatically sends a text and an email follow-up, and some of it triggers you to manually call them, more personally. Then once they sign the agreement, then what, Ann? What's next?
Then you would call the title company, get your agreement turned in the title company, and get title started. Escrow, yeah.
Yep.
It's a little different here. I don't have title company, okay? I have an attorney, so it's like kind of different lingo, guys.
Kind of the lingo. Title attorney, closing company.
I don't want to confuse anybody.
The paperwork. The people that handle the legal paperwork to close your property. You're going to reach out and let them know, hey, I've got a seller that is willing to sell to me. We've got a contract and buy their house for XYZ, and you're going to send over the agreements to the title company. Okay. Then once you send stuff to the title company, we're focusing on wholesaling, right? Flipping that paper. So now you're going to create a property packet, which is a list of detailed information and pictures on this property that you can send to cash buyers, flippers, or people that are trying to hold properties, that says, here's all the details on this property, here's the purchase price, and here's how you can buy it from me, right? Now, note, you're not selling the property, right? You're selling your position to buy the property. We're assigning the contract off. So you don't say, I have 123 Main Street for sale. You say, I have an agreement to purchase 123 Main Street, and I'm selling my position on this contract. So I have a purchase agreement I'm selling, essentially, right? That's more in depth, but you're going to market it out to your cash buyers. Then what, Ann? Once we send it out to cash buyers, what are we doing?
Then showing the cash buyers the property. We have to have time set up for the property owner, or if there's a lockbox on it, then we just let them know. They start coming in asking us when they can see the property. And then once you have a buyer in place, that's when you'll send out another agreement.
So you see, Ann jumped right in because she knows the process. She's like, well, you have a lockbox on the door and everything else, right? Remember at the beginning where I said, you're going to get a contract, you're going to sell your contract, you're going to make some money. And we were like, you left out a lot of pieces. You have to know how to, we send this out to the cash buyers list. What happens when one of them wants to see it? Well, do we have a lockbox on the door? Do we physically go out and see them? Do we work it with the seller where they let them in to see it? How does that process work, right? Yep. Then what? That's what you're asking. Then what? Be super detailed on this, because you need to know what you do from start to finish. Because everything that you build, every system, every automation, every process that gets you back your time with your family and money in your bank revolves around this. Okay, this is the stuff that people don't talk about because it's boring. There's nothing sexy about creating systems. until you realize that they work and they're making a lot of money for you in a lot less time. And then you're like, this is crazy. I love it. But that's why I kind of geek out on systems and automation. So figuring out what happens next, right? Contract buyer, we're going to send it out and we're going to get the buyers to the property so they can view the property. And then somebody wants to buy the property. Then what? We're going to send them agreement, like she said, to the buyers where we're selling our paper. We're sending the assignment of contract, right? We send that to the buyers. Once they sign that agreement, we now want earnest money to secure that deal from them, right? So then what? Then we collect the earnest money. Have them send their earnest money directly to the title company if you can. The title company holds the earnest money. Okay, I'm trying to give you details here as we go for those of you who are just getting started.
It would be more trusting if you have them send it to the title/attorney company than you taking it. So it's just better that way.
Yep, because they're going to hold it. They're going to remove it off the price of the purchase and the contracts and everything else. Your title company does that. When you have questions through this process, ask your title company. That's going to be the best information because they're the ones handling your paperwork. So they will tell you exactly how you need to do it. Okay, so we get the signed assignment contract from your buyer. We get the earnest money from them. Then what? We're following up. This is what happens next. Follow up with the seller. Let them know, hey, we've got a closing scheduled for this date. We're shooting for that to be closed and done and everything else. Let them know they need to have their stuff cleared out. Let them know they need to be ready for that closing. Let your buyers know, hey, we're using this title company. We've got this closing date. Will that work? Make sure you've got all the paperwork to the title company. Follow up regularly with the seller, the title company, and your buyer. Good communication will make this easier and easier for you and will make you a lot of money. If you can learn to communicate well with people, you will make a ton of money and it gets easier and easier and it takes less time because people learn to know, like, and trust you and then they're good to go. People start backing out when they don't know what's going on because they start to feel like they're being taken advantage of. Okay. So this is why, like, you know who you're talking to and you know your process. This is your process start to finish. You're following up with seller, title company, buyer until the closing. Closing, the title company, they will handle all your paperwork. They will get it closed and the money will go where it's supposed to go. Okay. So that's the process. Now, like I said, go back through the replays, write down every step of that process. And then you can use this same method on anything else that you do. But write down every stage of that process because we're wholesaling from start to finish. Now, each little piece you're going to look at and say, can I automate this with software or with someone else doing it for me? Okay, so I'm going to give you an example real quick of just showing you how software can make that first response within 5 minutes super easy. Okay, so the software is called Scalability, which I had mentioned before. The website is Fast Scalability. You can get a 14-day free trial if you want to like jump in and like try it out yourself. But I want to demonstrate kind of what it looks like and how that looks to add your your automatic response within 5 minutes quickly and easily. Okay, so let me figure out how to share this with you. We're using Restream instead of the old StreamYard that I'm familiar with. So I'm like, what? How do I stream this? How do I share my windows? All right, let's see here. All right, Ann, you can tell me if you can see my screen because I can only see one thing at a time.
Yep, I can see your screen for sure. I see the scalability dashboard.
There you go. Okay, so perfect. When we log into Scalability, this is what your dashboard looks like. I'm not going to dig into, like I said, trying to sell you on Scalability or anything like that. I want to show you an example of automation. So, and how software can do that for you, right? So if we respond within 5 minutes, we're going to have a 95% better chance of getting that deal. If you have a W-2 job, family, anything like that going on, then it's like, how do I create this 5-minute autoresponder, right? So with Scalability, this allows us to log in. As you see here, this is a dashboard inside. And on the left side here, you see something called automation. If we click on automation, I have it brings you in here where you can actually create one, right? If we click on this create workflow, this green button in the top right, there are pre-done automations, automated sequences. And I'll show you what it looks like. So don't let the terms like make it scary or anything. But you can see some things here where it start from scratch, or somebody booked an appointment and this is going to send them a confirmation and then reminders. We're specifically talking about a seller or somebody that reaches out to us right off the bat. If you see right here, there's this thing called Recipe Fast 5, and it actually says it right in there. We've built it in. It says the odds of closing a lead increase dramatically after 5 minutes. This workflow delivers the ultimate first 5 lead nurture. So I'm just going to click on that because we have it pre-built inside. We click on that, we come back to the top, we click create new workflow. It's going to automatically create these things that happen, right? So for an example of every single automation, there's a trigger. What happened, right? So let's say I have a website in place that looks like this, where it's a form. You'll get a fair offer. You choose the closing date. We pay all the closing costs. And all a motivated seller has to do is, oh, wait, see, there's the problem. It's not even sharing my screen.
I still see the scalability automation.
Yep.
Fast
I'm gonna
5, yeah.
share this other window with you because I want to show you. Here we go. So let's say I have a simple website like this in place where it says sell your house fast now, right? That seller Google searches, they pull up your website or they find you on Facebook, they end up on your website and it says sell your house now, right? They can put in their name, phone number, email. Now in scalability, we can create this fast 5 response, right? To where when that happens, they fill out that form right there, becomes the trigger. And all they do is name, phone number, email. You're at your W-2 job or at this training like this, right? Somebody fills out that form and that triggers these things that are already created here underneath it. And you see here, it's got to create an opportunity where it takes this person's information and it puts it into a pipeline where you can visually see that you have these new leads and you have these people ready for a contract. Okay. And then it shows it automatically sends them an email. And if I click on it, it opens the email up right here on the right side. And it actually says what's in the email. Congrats on claiming your offer. Now you can literally just click right here and say, and change the text. You received your information, contact first name, and it'll plug in their name that they filled in on that form. They'll say, so they'll get an email saying, we received your information, Aaron Jennings. And like it automatically emails that out, right? Then it goes on to the next step and it sends them a text message. And if you click on that, it lets you see what's in the text message. If we scroll down, it's going to wait 2 minutes. And then the system recognizes whether they responded or not to the text message. If they say yes, it brings them this way and it leads them to book a call or it sends an internal notification to you. If they replied no to the message or it was a negative response, the system with this Fast 5 will automatically call them and try to connect them to you. So if they answer the phone, then it automatically calls them and it sends them to you. This is important if you don't have the W-2 job, right? If you're available to take that call with new leads as they come through, then you're able to set this Fast 5 up like that, just like we did. We clicked on the template, we hit create workflow, boom, here are these things. Now we just connect the trigger to that form and somebody submits their information. The system will text them, email them, wait 2 minutes for a response, and then it'll try to call them. And if they answer, it will call your cell phone and put you on the phone with them. And now you've responded within 5 minutes. Let's say you have a W-2 job and you can't take that phone call. You just delete that section of the workflow over here. We just delete this call connect and we just leave it running it this way here. So then it doesn't try to connect with you. It literally could just send them the text message in the email, like Ann kind of led on to, that says, hey, hey, Aaron, I saw that you submitted information on my website. I got it. I'm in a meeting right now. I'll call you as soon as I'm done. And just that one text right at the top of this sequence right here can improve your chances of getting that contract by 95%. So like one automation at the very start of that process that we just ran you through of a deal from a new lead to a closed at the title company, just this first section right here, automating this little piece can improve your chances by 95%, which to me is just crazy. The value of automation right at the beginning of your process is absolutely nuts. And you see how easy it is to actually set up an automation like that. And we're running out of time. So I want to make sure we give them some examples right now. I wanted to show them real quickly, like how easy that is to set up some automation. For those of you who are like not techie and are worried about that, know and understand that it can be made really simple like that. And that's if you just start and just do it on your own. We have stuff pre-built that we can give you for being a part of this challenge towards the end, but we're not going to talk about that until like day 5. I'm going to make sure I give you as much as I can for free while we're here and we're not pitching you on anything. But Ann, what's some examples of the way you use automations like that? Because Ann and I both use scalability. And Ann, when you're using it, what's some examples of automation like that that you've used in that process that we just went over with everybody?
Okay, so I use the, I call it, the stage is called, for me, my pipeline is called, of course, acquisitions, deal board. First stage is the new deals being analyzed. And of course, it's kind of that same concept you just saw. I actually have a form, and I also have, there's another trigger there that will create that, necessary, I call it a card. So if you go to opportunities, that's where it's at. And then that acquisition board.
Let me give them a better view of what you're talking about, so you guys understand.
You know me, I'm gonna go like through my stages.
No, that's okay. I want people to understand and not be like, oh, they talked about a bunch of stuff, but I didn't understand it. So we've mentioned the pipeline, right? We went step by step through the process from start to finish, right? Where we said this, then what, then what, then what. Those steps, lay them out side by side from left to right. And imagine a new lead comes into new lead at the left side of your pipeline, and then you're sliding them through the process, right? We've got a new lead. They get the immediate response within 5 minutes. Then what? Then we follow up with them, slide the card over to the next space of follow up with them. Then what? They're ready for a contract. Slide them over to the stage that says send the contract. Then what? Slide them over. So all of those steps that we wrote down, lay them out from left to right, and that becomes your pipeline, your customer journey from start to finish. Now, inside of scalability, this is what that looks like. If we click on opportunities on the left, you'll see we've created this pipeline, right? So here is new leads being analyzed, seller contacted in negotiation, and then send contract, contract sent, and then here, contract signed, start title, then create property packet, then packet created, market to buyers, then sent to buyers. You see how those steps that we just went through and I said, write these down in a list. Now take that list and put them from left to right. This is what that looks like when it's built, right? Left to right. Each one of these is a list, a stage. And here I've plugged in some properties just for example, so you can see what they look like. But let's say we contacted seller on 720 North or 720 Jackson Street, and they said, yes, I'm ready. Send me the agreement. We just slide that over here. And now automation sends them an email, sends them a text message, sends them stuff like that. So that's what Ann is talking about. This pipeline right here and the way she slides a card. I wanted you guys to understand like what she's talking about. So go ahead.
Sorry, I'm more of a visual learner. When you're like, who do this? I'm just like thinking in my head, my own board. So anyways, new deals being analyzed. What I'm using for the automation for that is, of course, the form, another trigger, brings it in to create a card there. So if you can see that property card, that creates it there. And then it sends out an automatic text message to them, as well as I actually have a ringless voicemail that'll go into their phone, and it lets them know my voice so they're prepared to hear it.
Where are you doing that part?
New leads being analyzed. So when a new lead comes in, that's the automation stuff that I use there. And it also triggers me a task to run numbers as well. And then when you move it over to, like, you've called them, you ran your numbers, seller contacted, I would move it over there. And I have my automations in there that I don't really kind of remember. Sorry, guys. But
that's the beauty of it. You said it,
sorry.
and then it just kind of works.
Yeah. So, well, the next, say they don't accept my offer, I actually have what Aaron was talking about, the monthly follow up. And that is the most amazing thing that I have set up for my automation, because I don't have to do anything unless they respond back. And that's when, yeah, you want to take over, you want to show that there's still a person there and you're not a robot. And so I have a monthly follow up stage, and it goes in there,
like
and
right in here.
yeah, and it sends them a text message, and then in like 2 weeks, if they don't respond, it sends another different kind of message to them. And another 2 weeks, you can add an email in there too. But mine's mostly just text messages and ringless voicemail drops. And then, yeah, once we have them accepting the agreement, then it gets moved over to send the contract, which triggers me a task to get it's me right now. I mean, you can have somebody else fill in that position, and then it would trigger that person, in the automation. Hey, you need to send out this agreement, go back to this property card, look at all the information there. Once the contract's sent, then there is a trigger that, of course, I have, where it's like, text the seller, hey, I sent the agreement. The email, of course, is in there. Now, if they don't, I have it to where my Sage's follow-up, I think it was. And so it actually sends up, I actually have it sending out a follow-up text the next day before I actually call them. But I do have my task set in there where it gives me a task of, calling them if they don't answer. Once it's signed, then of course it goes to the next stage for the contract signed. And that's where I have triggers in there that it tells me to, I actually have a trigger that actually emails my attorney's office to let them know I have a property coming in, and I'll be sending the agreement to them soon. And then I get it. Then I call them up, let them know, hey, I sent that agreement. So I have kind of like my own automations there. And then
let me stop you for just a second. Let me stop you, because this is good, and we've got a lot of pipeline left, right? No, you're okay. This is what I wanted people to hear, right? And I want you to visually be able to see it, because this is a pipeline, right? So I want you guys to see how this applies to you. Okay. You're taking your process, right? I'm trying to show you to understand how you build your systems and processes, what we're after, right? So it simply started with me and Ann going, this is the step we do. This is the step we do. This is the step we do. Go back, write that list down, lay it out from left to right. Now this is the pipeline that we're showing you, right? I showed you how quickly it was, or how easy and quick it was to create an automation for like that first 5-minute response, right? Think of that automated response happening with this stage, this list of the pipeline. So every time a property lands right there, it's automatically sending that email, that text, hey, we got your information, we'll reach out soon. You can let it go ahead and connect you to them on the phone if you want. Then she's sliding the property over, right? And then Ann was just telling you, when I slide it over to seller contacted, this is what happens. Go back and listen to the replay so that we don't,
I didn't give much information on that. I said I have my own automations there, but I don't I don't exactly remember those, because my other ones are more important, because I just go on to the next one. Yep. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I want them to understand, like, all we're doing, right? Ann has the pipeline set up, these top stages, send contract, send, then what? Once that's set up, automation is created for each stage of the pipeline. So you notice, as she was saying what she was doing, I was sliding the card from left to right. Every time I slid the card over, what did Ann do? She goes, when I slide it over to contract sent, these things happen. Yep. It sends a text. It sends an email. When I slide it over to contact start title, it emails my title company and says, hey, I've got a new property coming. So she has automation built to where when she's working her deals every day, she's literally coming to her pipeline right here, and she's just contacting people or filling out information and sliding the cards side to side, and other things are happening in the background. So her time is spent on the money makers, the tasks where Ann has to be on the phone and personally talk to somebody. If she doesn't have to personally be on the phone, then she's sliding it over and other things happen automatically. And then it gives her a task that says, call and physically be on the phone at this stage, right? Like that's the power of automation. All of those things are happening and all she's doing is making a few phone calls here and there and sliding the cards. Okay. So I don't want to go down this rabbit hole of like trying to sell you on software. I want to demonstrate what it looks like when it's set up properly, the amount of time that it can save you, because I don't want you waiting 50 years to retire and hopefully you get that time back. And I don't want you signing up for every CRM out there and spending thousands of dollars a month on software and then spending all of your time trying to figure out how to use it. I want you guys to be able to like, okay, here's something we can use. Here's how I build it. And then here's how it works, so that you show up and you focus on the money-making tasks, okay? Once you build that pipeline, I want you to think of this as like, how do I relate this for you? This could quite simply be a whiteboard on your wall, okay? I want you to understand I'm not just trying to sell you software. So picture this board as an 8-foot whiteboard on your wall, right? And you make a bunch of lists on your wall and you put the titles right at the top, send contract, contract sent, and you physically write the person's property on the wall, and then you scoot it over and you write it in the next spot and you just erase it. Like, I want you to grasp the concept of how do you track your deals? How do you know what's happening in your business? Because even if it's a whiteboard on your wall, you could have somebody come work at your office and they could run your whiteboard. They could call and talk to somebody and they could scoot it over. Now, a whiteboard on your wall doesn't allow any automation, but it allows you to use this process to figure out then what, create a pipeline. And if you just cannot do software, then you have to manually do it. And it is still important for you to be able to track those, because that's how you get your time back. If you don't track them, even physically on the wall, you're constantly going, I forgot to call so-and-so. When was I supposed to touch base with so-and-so? And you're constantly wondering and worrying, feeling like you're missing stuff in your business. That's what the software and the automation helps you with. Because how do you leave work at work and go hang out with your family if you're constantly wondering what you need to do at work or if you missed something? And can you be present with your family if you're wondering if you missed something at work?
No, your brain is just not there, right? I promise you that.
Because I can't, right? And that's huge to me. I want to be able to, when I'm done working, I'm done working. I want to go spend time with my family. I'm not going to work 24/7. Yep. Because if you can learn to get the process in place and then start automating pieces of the process, you don't have to work 24/7. You can let the business work, right? And then when it's time off, you come into work and your pipeline tells you exactly where people are and what to do next. Yep. And just like this morning, it's automatically following up with people while I'm here helping you guys learn how to do yours. Okay, is this making sense? Like, I haven't checked the comments at all. I apologize, because I know we were trying to get through a lot of like understanding this. So I will look at the comments. Ann, do you have anything else you want to add here?
And like I said before, it doesn't always have to be you. If you do, it is possible to plug somebody in. I just did recently. That's my biggest accomplishment, is being able to have what I call a transaction coordinator. So as soon as I have a buyer who wants to sign an agreement, I slide it over and it triggers her. It literally sends a text message out to her because she's in my system and tells her, hey, we got an agreement. Or we got a buyer. Sorry, we got a buyer. We got a buyer. Please send out the agreement. I love it. It's after that, that has been the hugest relief. And then it does send me, I have it automatically sending me a message of where we're at in the process. And even she sent, I just got a text today from my transaction coordinator. So I was just like, hey, I'm going to be going back and, going to the bugging the attorney. So about the title. So
I love this. And I have to point this out. the first time, so Ann was already using like scalability. She already had her pipeline. She already had automation in place, right? She's already got these automated things that are happening. So she's familiar with automation in the business, right? But then she adds the transaction coordinator, an external person, and she slides the card for the first time into the next stage where it triggers the
Oh, yeah.
automation to do the transaction coordinator. And I get a voicemail from text. Aaron, this is so exciting. My transaction coordinator just called and she said she got it all. She was just so excited. And I was like, now that's fun for me because
Yeah.
like she was so excited that like this other person got an email and a text and was starting title work. And all she did was drag that card left to right. And like, and how much time does that get you back for your family?
Oh my
Right?
gosh. Like, I don't even know. Like, because like Aaron said, my mind isn't present. Like, even when I have, like, I'm always like focused, like, where's title at? You know, what's title doing? What's this? What's this? And I know, like, if you're like me, I tend to be a little bit controlling of the processes and what's going on. I had to let that go a little bit because I'll tell you this is what happened. Funny story. I was going into motion. Me going into motion of, oh, I got a buyer. I started working on the agreement, okay? I realized it when I went to go right before I hit the send button in my hello sign. It says, thank you. Kat's my transaction coordinator, Kat and Annie. And I'm like, oh, she was supposed to do that. And then I'm like, oh no. And then so I go back and like I sent it still, but just because my buyer needed to get it anyways, and I told him I would do it. I actually was like, no, I need to trigger that. And literally it moved over. And boom, she's like, well, actually, at first I texted her and I'm like, hey, are you free? And then she didn't answer. So I was like, all right, let's just see. And I moved it over and she's literally like, hey, the system just triggered me. And then I was like, did you get an email? She's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, you free? And then that's when we set up a time to go over it. But it was so funny because I told her, I was like, I'm so sorry I sent it. And she just starts laughing. She's like, it's because it's just how you do things. And then I finally have let it go.
Yep.
So
And
I'm like, if I don't get a text in like 2 weeks, I'm gonna be like, okay, we have a problem here. But
right. Once you get it, I mean, it's fantastic when you start seeing automation working for you. And so in real estate wholesaling, it's kind of known as this hustler part of real estate, right? Like if you're a real estate investor, a wholesaler, you're just hustling from one deal to the next. And let me explain something. If you are hustling from one deal to a next, you will never have a real business. Never. You will never get that time back with your family. And most likely, you probably won't get the income you want either because the income will never be enough because you'll always be gone. You'll always be hustling. You'll always be working on vacation. You'll always be texting and taking phone calls in the middle of your kids' recital and ball games. And like, that's a bunch of BS. Don't fall into that trap. You don't have to do that. Okay. The owner of McDonald's is not making burgers, nor are they even on site making sure the people that make burgers make burgers. They just know that the management knows exactly what to do with every person who works there. So they know exactly what to do. So the customer is always getting exactly the same thing. You don't have to be McDonald's to have that. You can be a solopreneur and know exactly what you're doing, exactly how you're doing it, and leveraging software to get the time back out of it. There will always be pieces that you have to manually do, but working 4 hours a day and getting more done than most people get in 10 hours a day is magical. Magical. And being able to do that from anywhere is just crazy. So
I don't know how much. I mean, I don't know how to express how much I don't have to worry about the. I mean, I don't have to worry about the monthly follow up. So I'm like, okay, I know my system's doing it, and I know it because I get like a text message back. I'm like, oh, I got to answer that, but I don't have to I don't have to do it right in the moment. It just automatically sends that text. Same thing with like being able to now put somebody in place. And I tell you, I swear the back end of my whole business was what stressed me out the most because it's like always focus on where is it at in the process, the closing, where's the title, all those things. And then if something comes up on title, then you're all like, whoa. And then so knowing that I have that system of, it's the automation for that back half of that system. It gave her tasks. of the processes in my business of what I do on the back end. So it's telling her, hey, after this many weeks of, 2 weeks, check up with the seller, let them know where the title's at, check up the title work, that kind of thing. It's giving her tasks. And she also has to move that card over too, so it could trigger some new tasks when she's got her other tasks done. So, and you guys got to hear her voice when I was like showing her the system. It was hilarious because she's when I showed her the first step, which was, so once we had the buyer sign, we got it over to title. I made her, like, I went on with her to train her a little bit, and she moved the card over, and then I showed her the automation. She's like, it texts the seller? She's like, so I don't have to? I'm like, no, because I have to have, like, I had to introduce her. And that's what that text was, hey, Kat, my team will be contacting you here soon about title and keeping you updated. And she's like, cool. Like, it's just like
Cool.
kind of got her. Yeah. So, and that's where she was so excited too. She's like, I don't have to do that. It's pretty cool, So,
yep. Yeah. Tomorrow we'll go in deeper on creating the systems of every stage. Okay. Like today, I really wanted you to understand the power of automation, because if you automate in the beginning, everything just can build and grow a lot easier and become scalable a lot quicker. And a lot of people just don't even know how to do it. So remember today, always start with the process, right? Like I'm showing you wholesaling start to finish. We're going to go into the systems of every stage tomorrow, show you how to start creating your systems so that you could plug them into automation or physical or manual, however you want to do it. But I'm going to show you the process so you know how to automate, systematize your business, because that's what will give you the life you want. Okay. Nobody's talking about it, but this is the important parts. I spent 50 grand on coaching and nobody had still shown me any actual systems of running my business. And when I started my second stream of income, everything on the first one stopped. And that was the first time that I learned of systems and how much of them I did not have. And at that point, I was just like, oh, this is amazing. I have to figure out how to never do this again, never do this again. And so I want to start giving you that tomorrow, right? Showing you how to do that. And then on day 4, we're going to give you traffic. We're going to show you how to get people that want to sell their place and to partner with people to get money coming in organically, get deals coming to you organically. Okay. So that you can plug them into your process and start working them. And then of course, day 5, John's going to tell you, like this, the pieces that you need to have in place to be able to get things funded. So we still got a lot of good content coming over the next 3 days. And we are 17 minutes over, which, hey, I'm still like 30 minutes under what I usually do because I'm a talker and I like to give a lot. So let me check the comments because I do want you guys to know this is live and I am paying attention.
Yeah.
Love this. So true. Need solid, repeatable processes. Yes. Michaela is like, she's running big 3M companies. She's a systems creator essentially for teams inside of like big companies. Like she completely understands. This is perfect. Been trying to figure out the best CRM. Is scalability, trying to search for it. It's fastscalability.com. So like Paula said, she's looking for the website or something where she can check it out. It's fastscalability.com. I'll put it in the above this video so you can check it out. Kimberly, what's up? Got a couple people watching on the W2 or watching and catching back up later on the W2s, looks like. So,
and then that question, do you recommend using your personal Facebook page or a business one? I have a business one set up, but not shared it.
Yep. We're going to go into that on day 4, but just so you know, yes, personal profile.
Yeah, I share my personal profile before I'll even share my business one, unless they really ask for it, and then I'll share it to them. But most cases, it's my personal one.
So we're going to go in depth on day 4, but Facebook's algorithm is what's important, not what you think is important, right? The only reason we have a website, a business page, or anything is because we're trying to build social proof. People want to find out if you're a real company, a real business, a real person, and whether or not they can trust you. Like that's what all of them are for. So if we know that that's what people are after, then what's the easiest path or the path of least resistance for that person to find the social proof? If you are on Facebook, you've all done this, I guarantee you, and half of you are probably in this challenge because you did this to me. You saw me somewhere or somebody said something and you creeped my profile. You clicked on my name or my picture somewhere and it ended up back here on the profile, my personal profile, not my business page, not my website, my personal profile. And if you scroll my personal profile, you'll see I'm involved with the King's Council. I'm excited about like taking ground for the kingdom with entrepreneurship, like Christian entrepreneurship. Like that's my thing. We live in Fort Myers. I got 2 daughters. We explore and kayak. You scroll my timeline, you're going to see my family, my ministry, my business, what I do and everything. So you're going to know, oh, he's a real person. This is what he does. This is what he believes. There's his family. And you start to know, like, and trust me just from my profile. And so that makes you want to go to a website or a challenge or a business page. So yes, I always say use your personal profile. We're going to go in depth on that on day 4. So I'm going to try not to rabbit trail there, but but yes, personal profile is where Facebook will send people when they're creeping you. So to leverage the algorithm, we use personal profile. I'm only seeing like 4 of the questions when I jump over. So Anne, are you seeing anything else there that we should?
No, that I just, yeah, that's all I see. And I don't know if you have anything on Facebook, so I can't see Facebook.
Okay.
And then,
Nope.
yeah.
I'm for some reason it's only showing me 4. So if I see you guys' questions after this, I'll check them and I'll definitely respond to you in there. But let me know what you thought of today, even if you're watching on the replay, because I know a couple people said they're at their W-2s and they're going to catch it on the replay. And I know we had people watching last night after the family was all in bed, I'm sure. So if you have the VIP access, I'll shoot you. It'll be the same link as yesterday. So I will, as soon as we're done here, we'll take about 5 minutes. And then I'll fire up the VIP access Zoom. So if you have VIP access, you have the link from yesterday. It'll be in your Facebook Messenger or in a text or email or something. So go ahead and jump in there. We'll see you there in 5 minutes. For everybody else, let me know what you thought in the hashtag live, hashtag replay. Tell me what you think throughout the deal so that we can make this better for you and dial it in. Anything that we don't get to today, we will get to tomorrow. Remember, catch up on the replays this week. Next Monday, when I delete everything, you will not get it. It's done. We go back to priorities. So make sure you're getting caught up and doing the homework and stuff this week. Today, lay out that process step by step. That way you have it written down so that tomorrow we can dial in and start creating systems for each stage. Okay? So, Anne, any parting words?
Oh, we're good. I can't wait to see everybody's systems and take a picture if you're writing it down. Show everybody.
There you go. There you go. That works.
We all got the same system. We're all doing wholesale. So
yep, exactly. Nothing's too crude. Just write it down and let us see it.
I would be intriguing to see it be a big white poster thing on their wall.
Exactly. Somebody with giant mirrors in there, just writing it all out on the mirrors. Like, hey, it's better than nothing. Take it and do it. So, all right. Well, VIPs, we will see you guys in the Zoom room in about 5 minutes. Everybody else, we'll see you guys tomorrow.